Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
All right, so someone is speaking out today, Jerry Seinfeld. He is blasting his kids' school for what they're doing. They are offering a day off to high school students who are distressed by the U.S. presidential election. Jerry says that they are just encouraging young people to, quote, buckle. Okay, do you agree with Jerry Seinfeld, Sid?
Yeah, interesting. Okay. I mean, listen, here's what I do agree with Jerry on. I do think this is an opportunity for educators. Who better than educators to actually bring people together to have difficult conversations? And I think that that's the time and the place, if there's discomfort, that should be encouraged, not like send your kids back home and figure it out there.
Yeah, I'm less interested in what he said, but more the why he said it, because I think people don't realize that Jerry Seinfeld is a 70-year-old man, right? He's an older guy.
70 now?
He's 70.
Yeah.
And he comes from a time where children were seen and not heard.
Yeah.
And they were never involved in adult conversation, and politics is definitely adult conversation. The problem with his comments is that he's not paying attention to the times we are in now, which is, let's be real, 24-hour news cycle, the cell phone use, the social media, everybody's inundated with the information, whether they like it or not, and that goes from the oldest to the very youngest. So I think saying, you know what, just kind of like, don't deal with it. No, I think if I were an educator, what I would do is I would be like, let's change the focus. We're gonna have our own election. We're gonna have a fun election. We're gonna, vote who's the best teacher, who does the best dance moves, and just really kind of pepper in some education in there. But really, when the kids come to school, just get them more refocused on learning and having fun, because the world is waiting for them as soon as the school day is over. And that's what I'd love to see. So, yeah.
What do you think, Courtney?
That's a great strategy. Can you run for president? That was a great strategy.
Have you seen this campaign? No, ma'am.
I mean, I guess he doesn't want to deal with the whole politics at home, I guess. Personally, I think everyone should get a day off on election day. I think election day, it's stressful. I think we should treat election night like Halloween. I think that...
Throw out candies?
Yeah, I think adults should get candy on election night. That's what I think should happen.
Yeah. Well, you do make a good point about having the day off so everybody can go out and vote.
Yeah,
That's
which is different.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. We come from this generation, Gen Xers. As I said earlier this morning, we used to drink water out of lead-filled hoses. We are built differently.
That was good water, by the way.
It's very good water. We're fine. Our iron numbers are up. But what I think is there is a very fine dance that we have to do this generation. Certainly we feel this as parents of young people, is how do you simultaneously build resilience in kids and also understand that they are growing up in a time that is more difficult than ever to be a young person. So how do you balance that? My feeling is, as a former teacher, is home is not the place for them to be if they're distressed with whatever the outcome is of the election tonight or maybe tonight. Because what is happening I think, with kids today is there is too much isolation. There is too much going into your own space, into your own head. Precisely what I think kids need right now is to have an educator. If this school, which I'm going to guess is a hoity-toity private school that Jerry Seinfeld's kids are at, they can afford to bring in somebody who's really adept at speaking to kids. Bring kids together, talk it out, have talk therapy, connect and realize that when you share a burden, it's lighter for you. And a lot of kids are feeling the same stuff. So why would you take them away from other kids? There's a lot of therapy to be had from other kids helping kids. So I say, keep them in school.
Yeah.
Don't go home. Don't go home.
I actually had this experience, I'll say quickly, when in 2016, when everybody had expected that Hillary Clinton was going to win, we went to bed, we woke up the next day and had different results. Within a couple of days, I was actually in Michigan, at the University of Michigan, and that's one of those swing states. There was a lot of tension there. I was taking a sex educator certificate course, and it was a mix of therapists and doctors and educators who were there from all over the world. And there were a lot of people who were queer identified and who were left-leaning for sure, but there were also very right-wing, very Christian therapists and doctors who were there. So the teacher did exactly what you're talking about, brought everyone together in a circle. It wasn't comfy. It was really, there were some tears that were shared, but I do think there was also some bridges that were built. And I think that there was a little bit of hope at the end. So yeah, I think educators hopefully can use this opportunity to just try to, I guess, see everyone's humanity.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
during hard times.
Isolates the kid.
Can we all agree on the candy, though?
Yeah, the candy.
I agree.
Done.
You're right.
Agreed.
It'll just calm the nerves, you
Okay,
know?
well, actually, this may come up again because if you're wondering how to get through Election Day, Eater, I think that's a magazine, suggests some cooking something extraordinarily time-consuming. So you don't have the time to sit on your phone and spiral. So, Courtney, how do you plan to get through the night besides eating candy?
Right. I mean, I think in the article they were like, make a big, messy, elaborate meal so that it's more time. That's just regular cooking for me. So it doesn't matter what I'm making. I appreciate the recipe, but I'm like, I can mess up grilled cheese. I can do it, you know. But I get it. I don't know. It's like, do you want to? I'm split about being distracted or paying close attention. It feels like. How can you put it almost feels like if you know your ex is being toxic on social media, how can you look away?
It's true.
It's hard.
It's a good analogy.
Self-discipline. That takes discipline.
I'm going to be right in front of the TV the whole darn night.
Me too. I
come from the news world, and if you've got breaking news in your blood, you are the type who is on for the ride. You buckle in for that roller coaster ride. You ride the highs. Your stomach drops when you go through the lows. And I will say, on a slightly more serious note, this is also how I'm raising my daughter. I want her to be politically engaged. I want her to understand it is your civic duty. This was us on Inauguration Day 2021. My daughter watched the whole day, and she asked really good questions. And I think, how do you create adults that care about politics? You start when they're kids.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm on the same wavelength because, before this I was anchoring at CTV News Channel. And I love news, and once a news anchor, always a news anchor. But I'll tell you something, I've covered a lot of big things. The pandemic, the war in Ukraine, but there's something about the last two elections that has felt different. And so I'm really appreciative to be in this spot, on working on this show, talking about it in a very different way, because I feel like I'm going to approach it differently. I am going to watch, but I'm going to take it in bite-sized pieces. I'm going to the gym, I'm going for a walk, I'm going to read a paper, I'm going to read a book. I'm not just going to sit down and just focus on it, because I really feel like it's affecting my mental health more than any other story has ever. And I've covered a lot of things. It just feels different.
I get that too. I get that too.
So a TikToker went viral for sharing what she won't do for her husband anymore. Take a look.
Things I don't do for my husband because I'm his wife, not his mom. Number one, I don't do his laundry. I used to do his laundry. We've been married for 6 years. I used to do his laundry. And in the first year of marriage, he would get frustrated if I didn't get to the laundry that week. I've got enough clothes, but he didn't. He'd get frustrated. And I was like, no, I'm not sure, Mom. Do your own laundry.
So she says the list saved her marriage. What do you think about making a list like this in your relationship? Courtney, what do you think?
Wow. I'm just gonna say, I think this girl is better than me because she just made a list. These would be my vows. These would be my wedding vows. I'd be like, and another thing I won't do. I support it. Listen, I think, I don't know. A list maybe takes it's a conversation you should have about which responsibilities are going to be shared.
Yeah.
I think maybe a list is a little extreme, but also, she posted it on TikTok, so what can you expect?
I think she was asking for a little feedback.
Yeah.
I think the timing is interesting because even though I think you're right, maybe some people are like, ooh, a list, that feels very unsexy. That doesn't feel like a communication. That feels like dictating something in a household. But I think that more couples need to understand they should do this before they get married.
Yes.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I've said it on the show before that before you get married in the Catholic Church in Canada, you have to do a marriage preparation course. And fans, marriage preparation course. And I know it doesn't feel progressive for me to say that because there's a lot of issues with the Catholic Church. This was the best thing I ever did with my husband. So we did 4 weekends in a row, and it's put on by the Archdiocese of Toronto. And you do this work that maybe you've never discussed with your potential husband or wife ever before. And so for us, it literally was create a budget together. Will you have separate bank accounts? Will you have a joint account? If you have children, how many do you want? How many times is it normal to see your parents? How many times do you think it's normal to see my parents? You actually lay it out. You actually will do things like who's doing the laundry. And I thought to myself, how progressive for the church?
I mean, sure. I love that, but you can also not do that, and you can still do the same thing. I didn't do that. I wasn't a Catholic marriage, went through the Catholic system, but I did spend a lot of time dating Jason, and we both also came to this relationship as individuals who were self-sufficient. So it was very
Did you
clear.
live with each other for a long time before you?
First of all, we both lived alone. Like we lived alone, and
That
so
makes a
became
difference.
self-sufficient. Had to do our own laundry. Had to cook. Had to also sometimes had roommates. Like I had a bunch of different living scenarios before him. Then we lived together for a little while with his father, and so the three of us in a house had to negotiate certain things. But I will stand by. I hear women complain constantly about the emotional labor of stuff that they have to do, and I think that that is real. But I also think there's something you could do, which is just stop doing any of that stuff that is giving you emotion. It's a radical thing.
Yeah.
But I think you need to be given permission to just not do some of those things.
As a single woman who's not married, this is so interesting because the messaging right now is so confusing. First of all, if you're married and you chose this person and you're in love, it is also very weird to hear a woman go, and I ain't doing that, and I'm not doing this, and I'm definitely not doing that. It's like, so why did you get married?
Because they want to live at their own, like they don't get married to be someone's mother, like he says.
What I'm saying is, like, when you're under the same roof, so you should be doing things with each other. I don't know, there's something about the attitude of like, this is what I do.
I think she's fighting against gender roles.
Right. It's not
Because
a
there's
never.
a gender
Here's the
expectation.
problem. On TikTok, there are a lot of videos just like that one where there are women saying, I don't do this and I'm not doing this. And at the same time, what else is trending? Trad wives, where you have very young women who are milking cows and making granola before 7 a.m. and breastfeeding the baby and making their, their stuff from scratch. And it's such a weird thing where we're getting two different messages right now. But this story actually reminded me of a conversation I had with my girlfriend Jackie's very stern Greek mother, who's like, never, ever, I'm not gonna do the accent, let another woman come into your house and show your husband that she is better at cooking, cleaning, taking care, and just having a better family. Never let that happen. So she would be against this. You don't say all the things you're not gonna do.
Oh, girl, come in and do it, and if he likes you better, have him.
But you know what? It's
Throwing
interesting.
stuff.
It's interesting though. I will say I do understand that. It's funny though that the girl on TikTok said, "I'm not going to be his mom. I'm not gonna, like making a list is like the most mom thing you can do."
Good point.
It's a very motherly thing. Making a list. Don't do this. So,
And
I
giving
don't
him a
know.
lecture about it at the same time. So true. All right, so the next time you drive to Toronto, you might have the opportunity to turn down Taylor Swift Way. Okay, well, these street signs have gone up ahead of her 6 Eras shows. So what do you guys make of this? Do you like it?
Why did it need to be written
Wait
twice?
a second. You understand that if she reposts that, that one Instagram post could translate into millions of dollars of tourism money for this city. You have to put a business mind on this. There's going to be 500,000 people coming to this city over the next 2 weeks that are not from this city. So you like nice roads? You like
Wait.
service, social services.
We've had a lot of great visitors. We've had members of the royal family.
No,
We've
Taylor
had
Swift is next level.
We've had Springsteen.
No.
We've had the Rolling Stones. We've had Beyonce. I have never seen the city roll out the red carpet like this for a major superstar, and we've had our fair share of visitors. I'm not
She
against
courts
it.
this. No, the
it's
thing
just
that's different
interesting.
with Taylor is she really has quite a different relationship with her fans.
Yes.
As the mother of a Swiftie, Taylor is actively reaching out for you to engage. She loves this stuff.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, if you want to think that Toronto is a world-class city, it's like the Olympics to me. You roll out the red carpet, you show the world. The whole world's eyes are going to be on Toronto for the next 2 weeks. We want to show them we are warm, we are hospitable.
Cynthia's not
Come,
buying it.
Taylor Swift.
Well, I want to hear. I have thoughts. I'm curious what you think.
Well, I agree. Listen, as a Swiftie and a person who is directionally challenged, I appreciate the sign. Like, I've lived in this city. I've lived in Toronto 13 years. I still never know where I'm going. Maybe the sign will help me.
Do you know where you are
Turn
once you see
left,
that?
Turn
You
left
will.
on Taylor Swift Way.
You get it twice. Taylor Swift Way, Taylor Swift Way. I like that people are excited about this. I think it's being auctioned off afterwards for charity, so that's
Very
also a great
nice.
thing, which is wonderful. Here's the thing that bugs me a tiny bit about this is that New York kind of has this sort of like, we're great, and we just know we're great. LA has a similar vibe. I want Toronto to adopt that vibe. This seems a little try-hard. Like the desperation of just like, we want Taylor to notice us. You know what? We have a lot of things that need to be fixed. So if some of the money from this can be used to help with traffic, then I'm all in.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I want Toronto to just feel cool and not be trying so hard.
That's
You know what I mean?
interesting. you're like New York is the cool older sibling.
That's
We're
right.
like trying to be like them, but
Come
we're
on, Taylor,
losing
notice
cousins.
us.
corny.
Yeah.
Taylor, don't listen to them. We love you. Come on down. Okay, Courtney, you recently released your sophomore comedy album. It is called Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Congratulations. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, this is my second album. I'm so excited. It's all about my experience as a person with a disability, as a person with who's an amputee. All the crazy conversations I'm sure you can imagine I have on a daily basis, and just how I live my life. And yeah, I'm like so excited to put it out and for people to hear it. It's available on streaming, and it's a personal one for me. All my favorite jokes, but also some personal insights about my life. So I'm pretty
Nice.
happy with it.
Thank you so much. That's great art, too. Great art. We love that. Courtney, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you so much.
Everybody, you can stream Wonder Woman everywhere starting right now.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.